Some of the fittest dogs that I see are the ones that get injured the most. So they run for miles, they're training constantly, they're lean and muscular and powerful. And yet, these are the dogs that end up with intermittent lameness, recurring injury during the season, and slowing competition times and worsening performance. So what's going on? Because it's not lack of exercise, it's something else completely different. I'm Angela Day, and I'm a multi-award-winning canine rehab and core fitness specialist, and I'm based in the UK. And I'm just going to tell you what I see. Most owners believe that when their dog is injuring continuously, that the answer is super simple. If a dog is struggling, they believe their dog isn't fit enough, that they need more exercise, more walks, more running, more swimming, more treadmilling. You might want to watch my video on treadmilling your dog. They also believe that they need more duration and more intensity. But exercise quantity and exercise quality are not the same thing. And that's why we see so many of these very fit dogs' bodies breaking down. Because your dog can be fit, they can be lean, they can be muscular, and they can be powerful, but still have terrible core stability. So let me just explain the difference between fitness and core conditioning. So fitness, that's your cardiovascular capacity, your endurance. And core conditioning is something totally different. Core conditioning is neuromuscular control, its stability, its proprioception, and its core deep stabilizer activation. And if that system isn't working properly, the entire dog's body is sat on a broken foundation. So what does poor core stability actually look like? Well, there are many factors, and your dog really needs a proper assessment, but there are some visual cues that we can look for that almost in all cases are going to indicate that the dog has a weak core. So the first one I will see is when the dog has a dip back. So this is called sway back or lordosis. And unless that dog has a breed design that says that back should be dipped, you would expect a nice, even, level top line or gently sloping top line, depending on the breed. And if that's not the case, like say in a Labrador, for example, and you have this real dip in the back, you can pretty much hand on heart say that that dog has weak core stability. The second thing that I look at is, again, from the side, you can see like a roaching, so an arch of the back where the spine is curved upwards. And this is called kyphosis. So that rounded, hunched appearance are indicators that the core stabilizers of the spine are not functioning as they should, and the superficial muscles are overworking and pulling really tight to do the job for the multifidus not working properly. The third thing I see is a rigid back. So it's like flat, almost like a washboard. And this is from the back of a dog's shoulders all the way to the pelvis. And even the fur feels dry and really flaky and scruffy a lot of the time, because there's very poor circulation in the area, because what's happening is the muscles are all going into guard mode. So everything is jumping in to do the job that the core stabilizing muscles of the spine are not doing. And they go into spasm, and it's super painful. So in this, the dog itself looks really, really stiff, and behind the rib cage, it looks like a solid block. And actually, if you touch that area, it is solid to the touch. And the spine barely moves at all. And you might even get this kind of stilted gait from the dog. So they don't move through the back at all. So this solid muscle feel that you might feel isn't strength, it's compensation. And the fourth indicator for me is when a dog cannot do slow, controlled movements, and they always have to be quick and speedy, because to activate the core, slow and controlled is the name of the game. For example, can you ask your dog to back up, but slowly? Can they walk in a slow, controlled way? Or can they hold a stable position without fidgeting? Dogs with poor core stability rush through everything. So they can move fast, but they can't move with control, because slow controlled movement requires the deep stabilizers to fire up, to recruit. And a muscle like the multifidus, which is there to protect the spinal cord, which is the key core stabilizer of the spine, needs to be recruited continuously to protect that spine, to protect the spinal cord, and to preserve life. I used a ton of different analogies depending on the time of the week. But now we're going to dive into the car. So we're going to look at your dog's body like it's a car. And the engine, that's the fitness. That's the cardiovascular system. That's your speed and endurance. And the chassis, that's the core. The suspension system. It keeps everything aligned and stable and safe. Imagine putting your Ferrari engine into a rusted, old, rickety chassis. How far are you going to get? Of course, the engine runs beautifully. And actually, the chassis might be able to hold its own for a little while down the road. But the further you drive, the more damage there is to the chassis, because it can't handle the load. And that's exactly what's happening in our dogs. Fit engine, broken chassis. And do you want to know what really twists my knickers? What do most owners do? More exercise, more running, more walking, more intensity, more load. But remember, we're asking that broken chassis to carry this load. You're not fixing the problem, you're accelerating the problem. So what these dogs actually need is better exercise, not more exercise. So better exercise means controlled movement, progressive challenges, neuromuscular training, and core activation. Using things like cavaletti, controlled position holds, and slow, deliberate movements. These slow, deliberate movements that activate the core is kind of like how we would use Pilates. We know how challenging Pilates can be with these tiny little movements. But it's this type of work that builds stability. It's this type of work that builds the foundation that makes everything else in a dog's body safe. So once that chassis is strong, running becomes safer, performance improves, and injury far less likely. So here's something that most owners don't realize. By the time you see the dip back, the arch back, the flat back, the loss of slow controlled movement, your dog's already been compensating for a very long time. So core conditioning should happen before these injuries happen. And this isn't just for athletes, this is for every dog. But it's never too late to start. We just need to start. If you want to know how to learn to assess your dog properly and how to build a core plan that actually works, then I've added a link in the description below for you. Your key takeaway from this ought to be not more exercise, just better exercise. You'll have the same dog with a different future.